Bonjour Jérôme. Hello Jérôme, this is the opening of a new exhibition. A lot of people are going to join, so we won't be having private conversations, but yeah, you're welcome.
Hey Olivier, are we live on my page as well?
We should be, yes, yes.
I'll have a look.
In fact, my comment was actually shared with your page as well.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear Susanne, Jérôme now? Susanne, if you just double checking.
Hi Jérôme.
Hello, Seamus.
Just gonna see if I see, because I can't see it on my. Oh no, I can see it now. Okay, so
Great.
there's definitely a delay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting because I put a comment on my feed and it's been copied on yours as well, so it's something to know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, everyone, we're just waiting for people to tune in.
When tuning in, if people could just write where they're hailing from, either the city or the country, that would be great. Thank you. Hello, Marie-Hélène. Good evening, Derval. It's great. People are starting to join.
It's cool. We have somebody from Wales.
Oh, excellent.
Bray.
And we have Owen McLaughlin from Dublin, Housegrass. Hello, Owen.
Cool. So where's the German bunch? I'm waiting. Hey, Owen. Thanks for tuning in.
Stephanie, where's Stephanie hailing from?
Oh, I know Stephanie. She's
Excellent.
in Dublin, but she's from Germany as well, Berlin.
Excellent. Jérôme is from Longwy, near Nancy. Navan, excellent.
Hi, Kevin. Oh, this is exciting. One more minute. My clock just turned 6:30 here.
Okay. Well, we can see the amount of people who are joining. Can you see that as well? 17, right? Is that the count there? Hello, Finola.
I can only see 5 at the moment.
All right, so they must be on my feed. Can you see live? And then beside the I see 19, 20. So we have a lot of people joining. Maybe that's the count on my page. I have no idea.
Yeah,
We're learning as we go along.
Yeah, and you know, me and numbers, I'm lost. But it's great to get some feedback there and people commenting where they're from. Oh, Mareike, hello. Yeah, it's basically a lot of kind of friends and people that I haven't seen in a while, as anyone, you know.
Exactly. I'm just going to put the link to the virtual space so that everybody has that. I suppose a lot of people have seen the exhibition already.
Oh, great. It's there. Yeah, we just put it online a good hour and a half ago. So you can see it from your phone, which is really, really handy in terms of navigating. You can see it from your computer and tablet if you like. Hi Dai, ich freue mich. Ah, Jerome, nice to meet you too. And everyone that was here before, thanks also for helping us test this. We're learning a lot in terms of live streaming, virtual galleries, all that jazz.
We'll give it a few more minutes because I think people are just joining now. It's 6:32,
so people can get themselves a drink. I have some coffee.
Yes, actually, that was the whole idea as well. I have a glass of wine somewhere.
Yeah, I'm keeping the wine for later. I want to be able to, you know, speak. Oh, that looks
Mary,
nice.
hi, Mary.
Is it a rosé you're drinking? Or is it red wine?
It's rosé.
Oh, delish.
Okay, we have somebody who has a problem, cannot join. Okay, let me just go private.
Oh, Gary. Hi, Gary. Thanks for tuning in. Just grab a drink or a snack if you like. We're just hanging around for people to come online as well.
Okay, Hugh.
Olivia, I was thinking I could also read a poem at some point.
Yes, you're the artist. You decide. Yes, by all means. Hello, Gary.
Let me see my eyeballs. Yeah, no, I better not look at the numbers. I'm getting a bit nervous now.
Are you?
I'm getting the, you know, those little butterflies, and I hope it's all gonna work out. You know, people are gonna be nice. And well, it's weird to have it in this space and not actually
Hello,
go to the
Nikki.
gallery.
So Nikki, I think, has seen the show already. Great.
Oh,
So
lovely.
we have people who have entered the space already, which is great. We'll give a bit of a demonstration, if you like, so that people who haven't navigated in this virtual space yet can do it. And you can obviously do it later, but we'll just give you a bit of a demonstration. Loads of people joining, so yeah, just grab a glass of wine or anything else, and
Oh, Fiona is watching too. Hi, Fiona. Fiona is my friend's daughter, and I had the pleasure of having her in one of my workshops at the Mother Tongues Festival, so that was really nice. Hi, Fiona.
oh, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I was more nervous about the technical aspect of it all. There were so many things that we had to do
Yeah, it's
in
incredible.
such a short lapse of time. Um, it is a weird thing to be opening an exhibition without seeing the people who are basically here to see the show.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Fran from Barcelona. Hola, ¿qué tal?
Ilona, ooh.
Actually, I could have tried a few of my languages, but
Mm-hmm. Well, we did try the French, German.
yeah, I think it got people confused.
Mm-hmm. It was very spontaneous.
We're not going to do any of that.
The good thing about this opening is I can't be late, you know. Otherwise I'd be like, oh my god, I have to do this and that, and then rush, kind of rush to the gallery. So it's
Yeah, the thing is, when I open a show in the gallery on Sundays, I mean, we have to wait until there's a certain number of people, and that's what we're doing here, waiting for maybe more people to join in. And excellent, Fran. Did you go for the guided tour, Nikki, or did you walk into the space? How did you do it? It's great that people have already walked into the space. Hello, Matt Kunst. Is that Kunstmatrix? Hello, Kunstmatrix.
Oh, it could be because they're based in Berlin.
Yes, I invited them to thank them. Kunstmatrix is the provider of the solution that we're using tonight, and that allows galleries to create those virtual exhibitions. And we'll talk about that as well. But thanks for joining. Fran ist Deutsch, aber lebt
Fran,
in Spanien.
Fran lives in Barcelona.
So,
from Berlin.
just trying my German right now, which is very rusty.
Well, I'd say it's better than my French. But yeah, I like about the French. It's like that it's just so delicious, the accent.
Excellent. Nikki walked into that space.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to approach going into the gallery, and we'll help you with that.
It's great. I think we could maybe start. What do you think? Just maybe I'll introduce myself, because I know there are people joining from around the place, different places around the world maybe. My name is Olivier Cornet. I'm the director of the Olivier Cornet Gallery here in Dublin. And to my left, if I'm correct, is Susanne Wawra, the artist, who is in our studio here in Dublin. So I'd like to welcome you all to the opening of Sitzfleisch, which is Susanne Wawra's first solo exhibition with the gallery. Not in the gallery, as you know, in this space that you might have seen already. I've put the link to it. You can access it from the exhibitions page of the gallery. And so when we closed the gallery mid-March, that was on the 15th of March, I had no idea how long the gallery would be closed for. But it was pretty obvious to me 2 weeks later that there were two exhibitions at risk, if you like. The first one to launch in April, that was John Fitzsimon's solo exhibition, which was not going to take place in April. So we had to do a bit of rescheduling and reshuffling, and we managed to do that. John's exhibition will open in September. And then Susanne Wawra, whose show we really sort of started talking about in November last year. So, by the end of March, I was thinking, gosh, that's not going to happen, this solo exhibition in May. So of all the artists that I've worked with over the years, if there is one artist that is technologically minded, it's Susanna. And Susanna would say it herself, I like exploring things. So I submit this idea to Susanna that we could do possibly a virtual exhibition, an online exhibition in a virtual space of some kind. And Susanna did the preliminary research and came back with a list of companies offering that kind of service. And it became very clear from the outset that Kunstmatrix was the one company that we would choose. And we gave ourselves 2 weeks to really learn about the application, the solution, and really sort of install, hang, if you like, and place the work in this virtual space. When we did that, though, we had this idea that at some stage the exhibition would come to the gallery space here in Dublin. So we curated the exhibition with that in mind. In other words, we went through a selection process with Susanna, selecting, between 15 and 20 works. And, we had also the gallery space in Dublin in mind when we installed the exhibition. The good news is that the show will indeed come to the gallery here in Dublin. I haven't really announced that yet officially, but the gallery is going to reopen on June the 8th. So there will be a few days where you'll be able to come to the gallery, those of you who live in Dublin or in Ireland, and see Susanna's work in the gallery space. And I think, hello Miriam, and I think it will be a very interesting experience for people to actually look at the exhibition that they've seen online and look at it in the space. So I'm delighted that we'll be in a position to do that. Before we talk about the work, and Susanna will introduce herself and introduce her work, what we'd like to do maybe, if you're okay with that, Susanna, is maybe show the virtual space. Those of you who have walked into the space know that on a laptop and a tablet, I'm not too sure on a mobile, but at least on a laptop, you have two options. You can go for a guided tour, or you can also just walk into the space. And I find the guided tour easier to navigate. So I'm going to show you briefly how that works. And again, it's not rocket science. And then Susanna will show you the real thing, walking into the space. So let me just bring my... You should now see, Susanna, if you can confirm that, you should be able to see.
Yeah, I can see the page for the virtual space.
Yes, you can see me scrolling down.
Mm-hmm. You're scrolling, and yes. Now we're getting there. Yes.
So this is where we enter this virtual space. I'm going to enter the space going for the guided tour. And the guided tour takes you to the first remember when you do the guided tour to pause. Okay, that's important if you want to look at the work. I'm pausing on that one here. When you do that, you can spend as much time as you want, basically. And I'm just going to click on it, and you can display information about the work, the title, the size, the medium, and the price. Everything is for sale in this exhibition. Speaking of prices, if you're interested in a work of art, you can click request, and that will send an email to the gallery, and you can basically ask for more information about the work. We can also discuss the sales, so that's kind of useful as well. You can stay in that view, by the way. It's called a detailed view, so you don't have to go back to the space, to the guided tour. You could stay here, and happily, if you prefer, you can actually move to the next item or the next work in the show without going to the space. I find that quite useful as well. So you see I'm moving to the next space. Now, if you want to resume the guided tour, you just close this view here, and you click on Start Tour. That will resume the tour. Just give it a second or two, and that's it. We're back in the space, and you know, it's taking you from one work to another. And again, you can pause, click on the work, display information about it. And again, you can stay in that view if you prefer and move to the next work. So this is really the guided tour. What I want to show you as well, if you close here, at any point in time, you can actually display the exhibitions catalog, which is basically like a price list with all the works. That's another way, you know, looking at things as well. So that's important. So that's all I wanted to show you for the guided tour. I'd rather you discover the exhibition yourself. But maybe I'll stop sharing. Maybe Susanne, if you'd like to take us to the actual real thing, walking into the space. So I'll stop sharing my screen. If you want to add your page, Susanne.
Yes, you should see it there.
Excellent.
Okay, so now let's be adventurous, and we just go enter exhibition there. We have those arrows here, and they can bring us forward, so we can move through the space. We can turn. There's the title of the show. So you can also click on the ground there, and it will move you forward. You turn around. You can look at this guy, and you could just exit the detail view, walk back, and check out the rest of the gallery. We chose a space that's kind of more long than wide, just to have a bit of a representation of Olivier's gallery. And
it was quite interesting, wasn't it, Susanne, when we looked at the space? Initially, we thought, wow, it is a large space. Maybe it's too large. And then we thought in the context of physical distancing, which I think is going to be the future for art galleries for a while, we're going to have more space between works of art. So we thought that was actually a good idea to do it that way. So there's plenty of space between the works, which I think is going to be a reflection of the reality in the coming months.
So, and also the show includes some small sculptural work. So if you want to check out the sculpture, you click on that. You can zoom in by using, you know, your fingers on the screen if it's a phone or on the touchpad. And if you kind of turn, you'll be able to see the different angles of the sculpture and how it relates to the space itself. So now we're kind of standing behind it. So that, to give you an idea of, a sculpture in a space. So if we exit it, we can walk down there. Don't get dizzy. I'm moving fast. And we have this set of smaller work. And the nice thing is also how they interact with each other and the different angles of them.
A lot of work actually went into modelizing those 3D pieces for the virtual space, and Susanna has been really working really hard on that. So thanks, Susanna, for doing all that.
Yeah, it's completely new territory. But I mean, the the explanations on Kunstmatrix itself and how to show something from different angles was really helpful. Still, it took a lot of trial and error. Kind of photographing it and knowing which degree is what. So that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you navigate through the space.
Owen has a question regarding broadband. I'm not too sure if it's your connection, Owen, unless other people are experiencing this as well in terms of the sentences freezing. We haven't come across that issue when we were testing. We've tested, I think, 5 times this week, but there could be an issue tonight. I'm not too sure if other people are experiencing this as well. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be good to know, but it can also be that now when doing the walkthrough, it's not as fluid as it actually is if you do it yourself. I mean, this is presentation mode, and there's also a little delay. You can hear us with a tiny delay, so I think just things don't move as smoothly as they actually do if you go there into the virtual space itself.
Yeah, I think I'm getting other comments. It could be an issue with House Cross, Owen. Who knows? That's great, Susanna. So these are the 2 ways of really sort of looking at the exhibition. And if you have any questions regarding that specifically, just let us know. This is going to go on. I mean, this is going to be on, until the 12th of June. So any feedback is good for us to improve on things. I love the letters. This is special lettering that Susanna came up with for the title of the exhibition. Maybe Susanna, we could talk actually about the work, unless there's any questions from anybody.
I'll have a look at comments that might be coming through my side. I think it's good. Like the funny thing is, this is in the virtual space here, and I have this guy just standing there because he's only going to move into the gallery when you'll be able to reopen on the 8th of June. Olivier.
Somebody was asking me something today, which I think is interesting. How did we go about curating or installing the exhibition? Because it is true that all the works are with Susanna. One is actually in the gallery, so I would have been familiar with one work, which is in Der Blüte, beautiful painting. But all the other works have been with Susanna from day one. So it was actually a very interesting, that's in Der Blüte there. I love this painting. And yes, Frank, we will talk about that in a second phase. We were going to be talking about the exhibition itself. But basically, we had to devise a way of selecting the works, which is usually my job and that of the artist. And we had to do all that online, which was fun. And when we had selected between 15 and 20 works, which is basically what we would have in the physical space, it was all about installing the exhibition. The works being with the artists, and I should hasten to add that I always install an exhibition, a solo exhibition with the artist, so that for me it wasn't a problem. The only difference this time is that I did not have access to the works, if you like. So what we did was I kind of gave an idea to Susanna how I think it would look good, but then the last word was with Susanna, who was um, basically in a better position to know what really worked in terms of tones, colors, and textures. So that's how we did it, Mary. And thanks for your questions there. In terms of the selection process, I mean, Susanna had produced quite a lot of work. So we had to go through that. And again, the restriction was the physical space of my gallery, because we knew that at some stage the work would come to the gallery. So that was kind of an important aspect of it. And then we just went through it the way we would normally, except in this case, I didn't see the works in the flesh. The challenge for me was the size, because you all know, when an artist sends you an image, even though they specify the size, until you actually see the works in the flesh, it's very difficult to gauge where the work is going to be or going to go in the space. So when I was trying to give Susanna guidelines as to where the work should be installed, I had to actually look at the sizes every time. And that for me was challenging. But past that, I think when you're very familiar with the work of an artist, and that would be the case with Susanna's work. Susanna started working with the gallery back in 2017 for an exhibition concerning The Other, which I curated with Owen McLaughlin and Claire Halpin. I knew of work quite well. And then Susanna had worked in various group shows. She joined the gallery shortly before her group exhibition at IMA last year. So I have been involved in different exhibitions with Susanna. So that made the selection process a bit easier. Even though I couldn't see the work, I had a pretty good idea about the works. I hope I'm answering your question, Mary.
Mm-hmm. Will we say something on the title, since the question popped up there from Frank?
Yes.
So Sitzfleisch is a German word. It's one of those compound words. In German you can put together words and they create one. So Sitz is seat or sitting, and Fleisch is meat or flesh. And putting together is like sitting flesh or seat meat. And it's a German term that's used quite a lot. And if you have, it's mostly used in the sense that you have Sitzfleisch or you don't have Sitzfleisch. And it means that you have a sort of staying power, a kind of perseverance to sit things out and stick to them and just push through and go through them. And also, Sitzfleisch, in a very literal way, refers to your behind. So, because it's, it's basically the flesh that you're sitting on. So for me, I like playing with words, and I also like the idea of terms crossing from one language over to another. If they describe something that there's no specific term for in another language. I mean, everyone knows Schadenfreude, for example. So Sitzfleisch, for me, just contains so many things. And it can also be seen humorous, which I like, or ambiguous because of the different meanings, and then taking my own twist on it and focusing on, the aspect of sitting and of flesh. I like working with meat are images of sausages. Oh, I'm pointing here. And flesh. It's just something that's very connected to my upbringing and just the culinary tradition where I come from in the middle of Germany, in Thüringen. From a little village, my family used to be farmers, so they kind of made their own food, and just that smell and the look of sausages and meat is something that's somehow so deeply ingrained in my memory of home. So that's something that I like to take. So something that's autobiographical and personal, and try to translate that in a visual language using photographs from my family archives, and also because at some point they might be exhausted, and also I love the idea of looking at photographs and not knowing who I'm looking at, what they're actually doing, so you can take them out of context and make your own story. For example, you can buy, images of the internet, and there'll be a rough description of the time they're from and maybe a locality, but you have no idea who those people are. And you might find, I have some photos there, I'm just gonna go down to dive and get them. So, just people sitting at a family dinner, that's more of a cultural thing from the German Democratic Republic, because I grew up there. And sometimes you're very lucky and you get names on the back, and then you can, just get an idea of, this is like a boys' class, and they're called Dieter and Axel and Edgar and Rainer. So I do find that really, really intriguing.
That was also very interesting, Susanna. This concept of Sitzfleisch, when you think that you had the idea, you had the work done by November, and when we look at what's happening right now, the idea of tenacity, perseverance, the ability of taking a task to completion, the ability to remain focused, and all those things that Sitzfleisch refers to when you think of the current situation when people have been asked to stay at home and to basically go about their business, but doing it from home, sitting on their behind, but still doing all the things that we do. That to me was very interesting, because then the exhibition and the work in a way is taking a new dimension. And
absolutely, and that that was not foreseeable.
No.
At all. That's a really interesting aspect and reading of the work that could come into it.
Exactly. That's the question that we're getting here. Susanna, sorry for cutting across you, Seamus. That's exactly what we're saying. It's actually pure coincidence. And the concept was actually elaborated last year. Most of the works were completed last year. I think that, yeah. And so for me, when I was thinking, is this exhibition going to happen? Because the gallery is closed, I was thinking it has to happen precisely because it's taking a new dimension. So it is timely.
And what I find interesting about, you kind of allowing me or giving me the opportunity to show work that wouldn't be the work that I'd usually show, just those mixed media paintings. They would be my kind of my usual art that you'd find in an exhibition or in a gallery. But I showed you a ceramic by chance, and you really empowered, you know, kind of that element to be able to show work that is a different media and that kind of jumps from, you know, kind of from a painting to maybe a sculpture. In terms of, I see it like you translate something into a different language. For example, I'm just going to show it on here. This piece there, Blasenjörg, Bubble Georgie, he's holding those bubble sausages. And if you turn around, you're kind of looking at this little guy, the sculpture there, which is a torso holding one of those bubble sausages. So I'm very happy that I was able to place, you know, those across from each other, and that, you know, I like how you also saw the jumping off points for the different works. The original just behind you, yeah, that like that, yeah. It's very confusing because we can see each other in mirror images. So that's the original there. And also I have the sculpture. I just reach over to get it. So that's him. And it's called Die Gabe in German. So I like to give a German title that's, you know, like my first thought or intuition, and then try to translate it into something that also works in English. So it's called Die Gabe, and the gift. So it's, you know, kind of giving something, but also it's a term, like if you have a gift, it's more like a skill or something. So he's holding the flesh or whatever it might represent there. And he's a bit headless.
It's going to be very interesting to move the show to the gallery because I'm looking at it virtually like everybody else. And it's going to be interesting to see my reaction and people's reaction when it comes to the gallery, and the decision we'll have to make to possibly not necessarily follow the same order as we have decided in the virtual space. So that's going to be a very interesting experience.
Yeah. Will we kick off the view and just see the both of us so people can see us bigger? Do you think that's a good idea?
Yes.
Ah, great.
Here we go. So I don't know if there's any other questions. How many works in total? That's a good question because we haven't numbered. I think it's about.
I'd say 20 or touching on 20.
Yes, I thought it was a bit less than that, but roughly 20, yes. I have a look at the, it's very interesting because we didn't do a price list the way we would in a physical gallery with numbers, but we knew that we wanted 20 max, again, because it's the idea of moving the show to the gallery at some stage. But I'll double check that for you and I'll answer that.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, some work that's the more kind of traditional work that I do, those mixed media paintings. But then I also started working on paper, just because of, you know, kind of space constraints, but also, I don't know, with paper, you just have that. I like feeling the freedom of being able to experiment and not you know, have that expectation of, okay, you know, I never want to feel like, oh, I'm making a piece of art. So it's more about just engaging with the material and seeing what comes from it. I like that element of surprise and excitement that you get. And then later kind of looking at it and seeing how they tie together. Because somebody there said that they do, Mary said it's an interesting relationship between 2 and 3 dimensions, which I find as well, and seeing the work that you like to show in the gallery as well. There's I wouldn't say always, but you do include sculpture as well, and ceramics. So I love working in ceramics, and I have those little works. Like this one comes in different representations. So it is in the show as a charcoal on paper. It is as, ceramic. And I've also incorporated it in print. You can see a tiny detail there as well. And those are like, I take a, to keep the flesh reference, I take a meatball-sized chunk of clay, and for me, they're like a diary. So they all have a date, and they were made on a day, and trying to translate off something within me that kind of emotionally somehow came to fruition. And it's a very calming process as well, and just exploring the material and seeing what it can do and how it can bend as well, and then fantasizing about, if those are my emotions of a certain day. This, for example, the 13th, Wednesday, 13th of March, 1919. So a good year ago. I'm fantasizing about, maybe somebody looks at that. Maybe I don't understand my emotions, but maybe somebody looks at it and can understand it or translate it or somehow make sense of it or relate to it. So, and also making those, I'm sitting, I'm just engaging my hands. So that's for me how it relates also to that kind of Sitzfleisch and a certain element of patience and dedication.
These are very interesting as well, because you've actually drawn them on paper as well. And we placed them in the space so that there's a real dialogue. We were talking about, I think I saw a comment there from Katrina, the sort of the dialogues between various media, but there's an obvious dialogue between the actual figurative work, that it is actually translated, as you said, from paper to 3D or the other way around. And when people look at the exhibition in the space, I think you'll be able to see that, the way we placed those 3D objects relative to the works on paper on the wall. So there's an obvious dialogue going on there. And I think it's interesting, and it will be even more interesting when we see the works in the space. Somebody has made another comment about, I suppose, the work that was involved in doing what we're doing, what we've done. And maybe to answer another question that I saw earlier on, are we going to keep doing virtual exhibitions or not? And certainly the next exhibition, the Bloomsday exhibition, as you know, the Bloomsday Festival this year is going online. So we will actually present a virtual exhibition of the show, but it will be in the gallery as well. But I think what we found out with Susanne is that no matter what, this virtual representation of an exhibition is a nice complement to an exhibition for people who cannot walk into, I suppose, a real gallery space. In terms of geography, I can definitely see keeping that as an option in the future. Nothing replaces art experienced in the flesh, no puns intended, but I think it will be a nice complement to an exhibition. Would you agree with that, Susanna, based on your experience of
I,
putting that
I
together?
yeah, I definitely think that you're always surprised when you see a representation of the work as a photograph or whatever it might be, and then actually meet the real thing. It's just so different, like you said, in terms of scale, but also the materiality.
Mm.
All the different, if there's a crusty bit of paint, or it's just it just flat. The photography just flattens it, and of course you can try to get as close to a representation of the original, but you won't get there. And I mean, there's a load of stories of people just being very surprised when they see the real thing.
Mm. Okay, we have a question, Susanna. Nikki asking whether the drawing comes after the sculpture or before. If you could maybe take us through that.
The drawing that came after the sculpture, in terms of like this is a very intuitive kind of way of engaging, of spending time, and there's no blueprint of this. The blueprint comes from here, and then the drawing is looking at like translating the 3D into 2D. So you can see it from this angle, but then what happens here. So I do have a drawing from this angle, and then two little oil on paper works where it's still the same feeling or the same day that I explore, but from a different angle. And I think that's very interesting. And then taking the drawing itself and making it into a print, and then bringing it onto the canvas to work together with other images. I like, kind of diving into something. If I feel there's something there, this really intrigues me. Yeah, and I mean, in most things in my process, I don't like to plan. I'm not a good planner in everyday life, and in art, I I like the element of just seeing what happens. Yeah.
Well, you're certainly very focused. I can say that because the way we work together preparing this on a daily basis, I don't know if you don't do much planning in your daily life, but certainly in terms of Sitzfleisch, you certainly have it, Susanna. And I'd like to actually say that it's been a real pleasure working with you on this, because there was so much happening in such a short lapse of time. So thanks for all your work.
Thank you. I can only give that back. I mean, I think your holistic view of everything, all the different elements you have to think about, because I can really zoom into something, but I felt you have more of an overall kind of keeping things together and containing them and putting them in a certain direction. So I think just working with you, even only online, has been really.
We didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But we made the most of it. Yes.
I think our individual styles really kind of suited working together. Yeah, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity, and that's why we had to make it happen. We had to make it happen.
Yeah, it was quite scary though. At some stage, I was like, "Will we impose ourselves these 2 weeks?" But initially, we said the 15th of May we launched, and we said, "No, we need more time. We need more time." So then we came up with this idea of the 18th of May, which was an interesting date per se. But there you go. Yes. Yes, Jerome, of course you can ask me questions about that afterwards. Of course, yes, that's no problem there. Hi, Colin.
Yeah, and also I like the comments, Nikki. Thank you for the very fine ceramic, delicate emotions comment, and also Katie for the being able to relate to the not planning. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, I just looking at the way I create, I think that's definitely something that's a constant.
Is there any other questions?
Oh, the GABA. Yeah, I love the GABA too. And I mean, there's a lot to say in terms of, I think there's a journey, but it's very difficult to represent that in the online gallery and not being able to kind of connect to the works as such and be in their presence, if you know what I mean. For myself, I feel there's definitely a narrative there, taking meat or flesh in different stages and as a symbol for the individual or humankind, and the way that, you know, sometimes you're kind of hard and fixed, sometimes you're more malleable, sometimes you're kind of torn apart and shredded. So I do feel like I incorporate all those different emotions, but they might be on a more kind of subtle level that unfolds when you meet the work, and maybe have a few chats about it as well. Oh, look, there's more comments.
Yes, Stephanie wants to know, what is your favorite piece? I think the question is for you. What's your favorite piece in the show? I think it's for you, the question. Or do you have one?
I'm very surprised by Hakapeter. You know, there's just like one half of it. It's a diptych, but it can be separated. We're open to anything, but that working on paper and also printing on paper, where you have to be like the transfer print, where you have to be very, very delicate, and also using different elements for mark making, like introducing charcoal into it, and just I had those two. Sorry, I'm still holding them. I just put them away as safely.
Don't break them now. We want them in the gallery afterwards.
No, we're not going to break them. I think Hakapeter, so that's the more abstracty piece there, which when I made it, I had this print of gehacktes, so minced meat, and I cut it in the middle and printed one half on one paper, one half on the other, and then tried to copy my mark making on both. So a bit of a mirror image, and just the feeling I had when I made it, and then seeing the result and being surprised, and yeah, I think that's my kind of favorite piece in terms of being surprised by it. Yeah, and then other ones are very
That's the pieces you're talking about here.
that's those two, yeah, and we placed them just in the corner, just as a, you know, trying out the space and different ways of displaying a diptych. Oh, Sitzstreik. Okay, Sitzstreik. Could you go to the large charcoal on paper?
I remember.
Kind of the back of the gallery, because Katie is asking about it.
Yeah, I think I'm going the right way. Oops, no.
No, I think if you either pull up the list, but I'm just going to talk about it. So it's this kind of charcoal on paper of just, you know, sometimes you flicking through the photos on your phone that you have, And I always find it really interesting how kind of the darkness of charcoal just can make a totally innocent situation seem very dark. I think you're almost there. The next one.
Yeah, I remember. That's the one here.
Yeah. So it's actually drawn from a photograph of myself sitting on a sofa with a friend. And it was shot by somebody else. We weren't aware of, the situation. I just liked the composition and took it from there and then drew it. And the way it just kind of won this intensity fascinated me. And Sitzstreich in relation, like Sitzstreich is like a sit-in, if you're protesting and you have a sit-in somewhere, but also Streik, in German it can have more meanings, like something, I like the relationship that somehow develops between the two characters in the drawing, where there could be kind of like a disagreement or dissonance or something darker. So I like that. And I mean, it's surprising, and it was for you when I showed you the charcoal ones to incorporate them in the show. Basically, I just felt that this had, I don't know, something that kind of draws you in and has some sort of emotional impact.
Yeah, remember that's the one where I struggled for a while because of its size. It's actually a large piece compared to other pieces, and where were we going to place it in the space? And we obviously found a solution. I love doing that. Again, that it was a higher challenge because I couldn't really see the work in the flesh, but we managed, I think, to do it. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece.
And
This one.
So Sitzstreich is like a sit-in, and it also, for me, kind of rings back to Sitzfleisch. Yeah. And Jerome, I don't live in Berlin. I'm in Dublin. I've been living here.
You're all in Dublin, Jerome?
Since 2007, so quite a long time. And I'm from the middle of Germany, a tiny, tiny place there.
We have another question from Seamus, who was fascinated with your exhibition at IMA in a Vague Anxiety, the show curated by Sean Kisan. And I really like the new ground you're exploring with this exhibition. And and the repeated motif sculpture is really interesting. That's from Seamus there.
Thank you. I mean, that's what I like, the new ground. I like that. I mean, I see kind of working as an artist a bit like an iceberg. I mean, the things you show are only that tiny tip, everything else that kind of builds it up or that also influences your work most of the time isn't visible. So I like if, something like, that charcoal pops up or something sculptural. I'm very intrigued by kind of working 3D, and I just like to allow myself to do so and explore different fields. So I'm happy if that, if that isn't too like clashing with maybe an expectation of my work.
It's going to be very interesting as well going forward. I'm thinking of these virtual exhibitions. There are certain features in this space that we haven't explored yet in terms of augmented reality. So it would be very interesting with your work, with the sort of work that you produce, going forward,
Yeah.
if we continue working, I mean, using those virtual spaces, all the possibilities. I think we've only
Mhm.
touched the tip of the iceberg, so to speak,
Yeah.
on that one. Possibly for lack of time as well, but certainly the
Yeah.
possibilities are immense,
And I
yeah.
mean, I think it will be interesting when you get the work from all the artists for the Joyce exhibition, and then seeing how that translates into a virtual space.
Yes.
I mean, I think in Kunstmatrix you can also use sound and video, and you can decide on how far in the room is it audible, and I think there's definitely loads to explore, and I'm happy we got it this far.
Mm.
Yeah.
And not to scare the other Bloomsday artists, but we found out that the way that Susanne and myself are talking to the rest of you, I can actually co-opt another 5 or 6 people. So we
Mhm.
could be doing a talk with the Bloomsday artists in June when we launch on the 16th on Bloomsday. We could actually do a talk. So I can only have 6 people, but we can take turns. So that's going to be interesting as well. If anybody is interested. If any of the artists are interested for the next exhibition, to do something similar. What we do as well with Susanna, we're thinking that not everybody might be able to attend today, so we will conduct more online discussions like this one today. In fact, I'm thinking that going forward, it's going to be very difficult to have official openings, physical, official openings for the next few months. So I think, those online discussions are the way forward as well. And I can see a lot of people doing that in the future, having an exhibition, a physical exhibition in the space, but the official opening will be one online where lots of different people can attend and talk to the artists and the gallerists if they so wish.
Mm.
So
And I'm just aware, like, we might miss some of the comments there because we're streaming on different platforms and all that. So if you have a
I still have
question,
a
yeah, if
question
you
for
could,
you.
yeah.
Are you influenced by any artist or art movement from a historical point of view? That's from Derval. Thanks for your
Mhm.
question, Derval.
I I love Dada and pop art. So my references, like my heroes, is Hannah Höch, or Höch, or Hoch.
Mm,
She's one of the few Dada women. She was in a relationship with Raoul Hausmann, and she hung around with them. And then later, more of her work was discovered, as with a lot of female artists of the past. And she hails from the area that I'm from. So I just, when I found out that, I just felt even more of a bond with her. And I like her, the collage, photo montage, experimentation, and taking things from magazines and putting them together in a new context and making comments on, like the New Woman or the politics of the time in the Weimar Republic. But then I saw a show of her work a couple of years back, and then seeing what else she actually did. She worked as in some sort of design studio. She went to Berlin. She did tapestries, wallpapers. She wrote poetry. She painted. So a very like long career, and also really varied. And then my other big hero is Robert Rauschenberg. Just also the grabbing of different materials, and that kind of, and then like a certain kind of joy and kind of freedom in what he created. Yeah.
When did you start painting, Susanna?
Well, I
Jérôme
studied.
wants to know.
Yeah, Jérôme.
When did you start painting?
I studied painting at the National College of Art and Design here in Dublin. And from I graduated in 2016, so only a few years back. But I had a life and a career before that, and as a child and teenager, I loved painting and drawing, and I I wanted to go to art school and applied for it and didn't get it. So I thought, okay, I'm not good enough. So for me, it was a long, kind of, I really enjoyed it and then really suppressed it and just thought, okay, I'll do the good thing, I'll have a career and, whatever one does. But then it kind of broke through. And I think that's also your experience of when you met me first, Olivier, when you came into my studio where I had the graduate residency, Talbot Gallery and Studios here in Dublin. It was a small room like the normal art studio, and my work just exploded. Every little bit of that room was full of work, and I remember your reaction vividly. I don't know if you do.
I
Uh,
do, yes. I was
yeah.
quite shocked by the intensity of the works. I had to move backwards because I was like, oh my God. I was actually thinking
Mm,
of you. How can you work in such a small space with so vivid works of art? And I think you said something that yourself, sometimes you had to leave the space because
yeah.
I was basically overwhelmed by the intensity of the work. And I was just wondering how could somebody actually, deal with it because there was
Mm,
so much happening. Yes, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever forget that. You were like, yeah, even your kind of your physical, like the physical reaction was like, yeah, kind of like taken aback and being like, whoa, what's happening here? So yeah,
Uh, and I
so
think on that day, it was an organized studio visit where you and all the artists in that group invited curators and gallerists. And I remember thinking when I walked into your space, I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I can take it. But
mm,
you were the artist that I stayed the longest with because after a while, obviously, I got used to everything. It was a brilliant experience for me, and that stayed with me. And it's no wonder that you're basically involved with the gallery now. I've just put online we have a page for Susanna on the website. So if you go to the oliviercornetgallery.com and you see Susanna is part of a group of artists called the AGA group of artists at the gallery. There's six of them. Some of them are actually attending the launch tonight. And Susanna is one of them. So you're more than welcome to have a look at Susanna's biography on the Olivier Cornet Gallery's website as well. And
yeah.
before I
No,
forget,
mm,
we also have an exhibitions page. So obviously there's the virtual exhibition, but we also have the actual, if you like, exhibition page, and it's simply Sitzfleisch. And I'm just displaying the link there. And again, if you go to the exhibitions page on the Olivier Cornet Gallery website, you'll be able to find the link to the Sitzfleisch exhibition. So there you'll be able to see each individual work in a more static kind of way.
yeah. And no, I like. Yeah, I don't. It's great that now people can actually kind of see the work that you do with your gallery through the online space. If people
Mm,
if they can't come to Dublin, or if they're wherever, um, it's nice to have that, to feel that passion that you have about collaborating with different artists in different stages of their career, and also the wide, the variety of styles and media. So I think in terms of the Bloomsday show, that's going to be very interesting. And yeah, I'm just going to say hello to a few people here because I'm just seeing Rory and Fiona watching, and from London, and Fran's there, and David Fox is one of your AGA members as well.
Yeah, David, hi, I saw you joining there.
Yeah, I haven't met him yet in person. I've only seen him on, you know, kind of this setting as well. Ruth.
Yeah.
Hi, Ruth. Yeah, I think this is funny. Look, we've been online for over an hour now.
Oh, wow.
I have a little gimmick. I have to do that now, Olivier, before we forget. Can I officially open the exhibition?
Oh, yes.
Hang on, I just have to find my. Okay, this is the ribbon. Okay, this is the ribbon. And maybe everyone has a drink, or you know, something they can hold up to the screen, and just I'm going to do the honors and say, you know, the exhibition Sitzfleisch is officially and successfully open, and I'm going to cut that.
Love those scissors. Oh, Aisling is here as well. Oh, yes, yes. Can you see Aishling's comment, Susanna, there?
Oh.
Really interesting conversation and brilliant alternative to the new circumstances. Lovely to see Susanna in her studio. And it continues, but it disappears, the studio, and discussing her practice influences.
And also to hear about the relationship between artist and gallerist.
Oh, I missed that. Thanks, Aisling.
Thanks, Aisling. That's lovely. Oh, look, somebody is opening a bottle. I did get a bottle of wine, I have to say. Oh yeah, Stephanie, Prost. What's the French? Do we say chin chin or
santé? Chin chin, santé. Yeah.
Oh, santé. It's a bit like the Irish slump.
À la vôtre, à la tienne. Yeah, we have a lot of different expressions. Yeah.
Yeah, we have Prost, zum Wohlsein.
I think the connection is quite good. I saw the connection at times in terms of the voices kind of fluctuating a bit, but all in all, it's. I was worried that if too many people were online or whatever, that it might, but I don't think it has. Slancha, Vicky, thank you. Santé, Jérôme.
And Babs is there as well. We shared the studio in college, so I have fond memories as well. Oh,
that's great.
I'm so happy. I think we can congratulate ourselves.
I have some Egyptian friend here as well. I can practice my Arabic.
Oh, Fran, you finished the cover already. God, no, I have to get that wine going, and I think we'll sleep really, really sound tonight. Maybe going through virtual galleries. I started dreaming about it. So yeah, you kind of get very involved in that. Cool. Is there any last questions or things we'd like to say? I mean, this is going to be available as a recording after this live. And
that's right. Yes.
Yeah. And everyone's welcome to go to the show. Try it on your phone as well. Show a friend. It's always good to let other people.
It works very well on the mobile, actually. I was testing it. It's actually kind of easy as well, the way you can scroll with your fingers, enlarge the pictures quite easily as well. So yeah, no, definitely, it's a good platform, Kunstmatrix, and I would definitely recommend that crowd. They were very brilliant. We had a few issues. All I had to do was to pick up the phone or email them. Even on Sundays, they were responding to our queries.
Yeah.
So the kind of support we got was absolutely fantastic. So I would definitely recommend Kunstmatrix, and it's been a great experience working with them.
Hmm.
Can we share a screenshot of this live event? Of course you can,
Please
Vicky. You're more than
do.
welcome. You're
Yeah.
encouraged to do that. Make sure that we're smiling. I know I don't always smile, so I know Susanne smiles a lot, but yeah, no, go
Yeah,
ahead, do it.
yeah, we'll have that. And as you say with Kunstmatrix, or kind of still, things are happening online, but still you can feel when there's a soul in something, when it's not just for a mere kind of product, but if there's something behind it. And I hope that kind of will hold art through this period of not being able to see it live, and just to engage. I mean, like, when do you, at a real opening, just saying, in the gallery, you don't get an hour's chat with the gallerist or the artist. They're just being like pulled here, pulled there, so you're not gonna have that conversation. So I think there's definitely also kind of benefits to being able to take the time and discuss this way, and hopefully that things will kind of translate from that kind of virtual sphere into in something that's kind of more graspable, or yeah, one should hope.
Excellent. Thanks, Vicky, for taking that screenshot. I can't wait to see it now. Oh, Fabienne is here. Bonjour or bonsoir, Fabienne. It's great. There are people we haven't heard or seen before. Miriam, thank you. Great, Miriam. Yes, Miriam is also in our next show, the Blues Day, as well as Vicky. So I hope you guys that it has given you a good idea as well of what is achievable in terms of our virtual space and the online conversations like this one as well. So, and again, we did that very quickly. We did that in less than 2 weeks, Susanna, right? So, yeah, no, it's definitely adding a new dimension, I suppose, to an art exhibition, and all that goes with it. And I think, as long as the gallerist or curator, whatever, is very familiar with the artist's work, doing it the way we did it online, mainly in terms of the interactions, that works. So it's encouraging, I think, for people who will continue to curate or simply organize art exhibitions with artists and doing it all online the way we've done it. It is possible, more than possible. So yeah. Oh, Hugh, you managed to join in. Thanks, Hugh. Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's lovely. Hi, Hugh. That's great.
Nikki, thanks. I was more nervous about the technical aspect of it. Anything could go wrong in terms of internet access, my laptop, you name it, I knew with Susanne that everything else was going to be fine in terms of presenting and talking about the work. But it was more the technical aspect of it that I was personally worried about. But
Yeah. We didn't even have time to kind of script this or rehearse this, because we were just like, are we actually going to be online? Are we going to be able to be screen to screen? Because you think it's quite straightforward, because you're used to seeing it, but then actually being on that side and having to kind of deliver that, there's more in work included than you would actually think. So I'm very proud.
Thanks, Michael. Yes, and yeah, it's true. We did a few tests, online tests, but they were from a technical point of view more than anything else. So what you've heard tonight has been kind of not improvised. I mean, but it's natural because we didn't have time to really, but we've been working together for the last 2 weeks. So I suppose that explains maybe a few things about the flow of the conversation, because precisely we've been exchanging so much. You know, even I remember you holding the images for me to see them online, and it was kind of fun, you know. So yeah. Oh, a message from Claire Halpin. Well done. So Claire was, oh, we have people who are not Facebook users, but they've been able to, God knows how to log in. So Claire Halpin sent us a well done.
Oh,
She's
that's
just texted
fantastic.
us.
Thanks, Claire. And
Yes, I forgot about that. There are people who have been watching this tonight, but who cannot comment or whatever. But yeah, thank you.
That's fantastic. I'm just remembering I wanted to do like a poem, so I just have a little look, because it's
Jerome, just to answer your question, yes, that's me. Yeah, Olivier Cornet. Yeah, on Facebook, my personal page. Yes. Thank you, Stephanie or Stephanie. Hey, Kelly has joined. Thank you. I didn't know that you were in, Kelly, as well.
that's
Kelly
fantastic.
is heading from Canada at the moment, and Kelly will also be in our Bloomsday. She'll have work in our Bloomsday exhibition next month.
I think it's a poem related to one of the little sculptures. Oh, I'm bringing a movement, but only on pickup, not dance. Okay, so this is the 19th of February, 2019. So this is how I felt that day.
That's one of the incrustations pieces in the show.
Yeah, I call them compulsive crustaceans, and and they're only bisque fired, so then they're just they're ceramic, but they're not treated any further in terms of glazing, to retain that kind of tactile element and the detail. I do like that. So when I did kind of just in one of my notebooks, it's like little just like pen drawings, and then there's some words to go with it. So I'm gonna try this impromptu. It's called Plenty. What we feel most has no name but darts, flicks, tricks, tokens, hearts, kicks, mix, brokens, loss, wonder, mustard, core, toss, thunder, custard, more, lust, tears, rapture, empty, must, fears, capture, plenty. Yeah, that's my little piece to go with my kind of confusion, or like yeah, plenty.
Thank you, Susanne, and thank you for all your work. Producing, creating the work, but also all the work that you've put into this virtual show. It's been a pleasure working with you, and thanks everybody for attending tonight, and spread the news about the show if you can. And yeah, there is a recording of this event on Facebook, so we keep it there, definitely. Thank you, Mary. Fiona, thanks.
Cool. I'm super happy now. I'm content. Anything can happen.
Relieved.
We've done it.
And the gods and goddesses of technology have
thanks to everyone that has been with us for the past hour and a half, and looking at the work, and I'm delighted. And we definitely proved to have we've proven to have Sitzfleisch in the whole process of doing this and pulling it together. So yeah, well done. We have Sitzfleisch. We have the kind of the seat meat that kind of that grip to just pull through and yeah, then be able to say, yeah, it was worth it, kind of doing the whole process and even all the as you do with, of course, always things things you don't anticipate, they go wrong or they take longer than you think. I mean, we're pretty used to that in the arts, and I mean, the days or the day before the show, or like the few hours before the show, like you can
Yes,
be happy that nobody sees that, and then you
exactly.
open and you're like there, like cheers and yeah.
Exactly. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Derval, for that nice comment there, and I'm glad that you've enjoyed the experience. So, thank you, everybody. I think we're going to end the broadcast, right? And I'll say goodbye to you in our studio, in the other room,
Mm-hmm.
Susanna. Well done, everybody. And if you want to buy any works of art, you know how to do it. You can do it through the exhibition space as well, with the emails and the price list that is online there. And thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for attending tonight. And it's goodbye from us. Auf
Yeah.
Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Au
Und
revoir.
Dankeschön. Au revoir
Merci.
et bonne soirée.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye now. Thanks, Vicky. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone. Who's taking us offline?
I'm trying to